Hey, this is Ella from Illuminated Calligraphy, and today I will be showing you some of my favourite art supplies for calligraphy, lettering and bullet journaling. One of the most difficult things I found when I started doing calligraphy and lettering was finding supplies, because there is such an overwhelming amount of different things available online, in store, and everyone seems to have a different opinion on what's best and what works and what doesn't. A lot of it is down to personal preference, but I do think there are some items and some things that you can buy today that will definitely help you forward, that are not expensive, easy to get by, and are definitely going to take your skills or your practice to the next level.
First, let's have a look at the different papers and notebooks I like to use. The first one I want to show you is Bristol Paper. This is one of my personal favorites. Bristol Paper is a thick and smooth paper that you can use for multiple types of art and writing. So this page right here is just normal printing paper, and as you can see, the pen didn't really catch on it that well and the paper is very thin, whereas with the Bristol paper, pages are a lot sturdier, a lot easier to work on, and the result looks a lot nicer. There are two types of Bristol paper. You got the smooth surface, and you also have some rougher surface that is better for watercolor, etc. This is the smooth surface paper, and as you can see, the results with using an ink and nib are really quite crisp and smooth. Same goes when you use a brush letter pen, as I'm doing right here. This is just a colored brush pen, but I just wanted to demonstrate how beautifully the lines show up on this paper. And last of all, here is the same with just a graphic pen. Bristol paper is a popular choice among many artists because of the quality paper, and it's also very reasonably priced. I got this one just from Cass Art, which is a artist shop based in Birmingham, and it was really cheap and I just love using it. Up next is tracing paper. Tracing paper was traditionally used by architects and engineers, but has in the last couple of years been very popular among artists as well. It is transparent, as the name suggests, and it is very easy to write on with multiple supplies such as the graphic pen, as I'm showing here, but also with brush pens. The main thing that I use tracing paper for is to try out my different designs, especially when it comes to placement. So you can easily place a sheet behind it, and then just by moving the paper around, you can find out where you want your design to be. And of course, the most logical use of tracing paper is to actually trace things. So when you look at this picture that I showed you before, I use tracing paper to trace one part of the picture that I'd done before. And what is very useful is that you can then draw on the back of the tracing paper, preferably using something like a graphite pencil. You can then kind of use that as a stamp onto your next sheet. So this can open up a whole new way for you to start playing with your designs. So this is the Rhodia Pad. I was only just recently introduced to this, and it's completely changed everything for me. So I use this particular pad for my calligraphy drills, so I practice a different letter in it every single day, and the paper doesn't bleed because it's just a really high quality smooth surface. So here you see me using my calligraphy pen and ink to write on this paper, and it's just very smooth, lovely smooth movements, and the ink is not bleeding, it's not lumping, it's just great. So I 100% recommend this pad if you are doing calligraphy, have been doing calligraphy for a while, or if you want to get started. You can also see me demonstrating my different brush pens, and as expected, they just look great. I do recommend the dotted one because it's a lot easier to just play with different shapes and sizes when you're not restricted by lines or by squares. But this pad is really cheap. I bought it for like £5 of Amazon, and I have not regretted it. It's just been a great pad to use, especially for practice and for drills. I don't use this pad very often, but I still wanted to show you just because I really like the effect that white has on black paper. So this is a mixed media notepad and I bought it from TK Maxx. The pages are nice and thick, they're perfect for mixed media, but I mainly use them for gel pens and also for white charcoal, as you can see in this one right here. Overall, it's just a really fun pad to play with and try different things with. The pages are a lot darker than they look in this video, but that's just due to the lighting that I'm using. And last but not least is of course my bullet journal. I use the Lightroom, if I say that correctly, I probably didn't. I would just write the name on the screen because that's easier. But it's got an index, and sorry, yeah, I covered over my mobile number. I love you guys, but please don't call me. The plan is to write something on here at some point, but I haven't gotten that far yet. It also has an index, and then it's got the rest of the pages which I've shown you in previous videos. One thing that's nice about this journal is that the pages are already numbered, but it also has a little envelope in the back. I haven't really used it for anything yet, it just has the brochure in it. But yeah, this is the one I use and it's been recommended to me by other people and it's great. Up next, I'll be showing you the pens and markers that I use. I'll be showing you my different Fineliners, the different brush pens that I like to use, my Tombow colors, my go-to gel pen, and then I also have my favorite Pastel pencils, which I will not be reviewing in this video, but I do use them often, and of course my nib. I use Calligraphy ink by Winsor & Newton, which is this one right here. Here's a quick demonstration of the Fineliners. These Fineliners are Pigma Micron ones by Sakura, and I got them from Amazon for I think £8 for a set of 6. The great thing about these Fineliners is that they are waterproof, which means that if you were to draw with them and then you put watercolor on top of it or something, they won't bleed out. They also give you one graphic pen and one brush pen. However, when it comes to brush pens, I much rather prefer to use the ones that I will be demonstrating now. These are all by Tombow and they've got different things that they are very good for. So this traditional one that I'm showing you right here is more of a looser brush pen, like what you expect from a more traditional type. It's definitely a must-have for beginners. It's very easy to use, and then you also have a normal pen on the back. However, these Fudenosuke pens are 2 other ones that completely changed my lettering game. I was very late to discovering them, as I only really found out about them a couple weeks ago, but they are so easy to use, and then you've got one version with the hard tip, which is the one I used just now, and this is the softer tip. I do use the hard tip one more, I find, because I just find it easier to write with, but that's a personal preference. But you usually buy the 2 as a pair, and I definitely recommend them both. My coloured brush pens are also from Tombow, and I've got the 12 pack in pastels. I got them a couple weeks ago and I cannot imagine my life without them. They're so easy to use, really high quality, and they come in a large variety of colours. And I especially enjoy the different pastel colours it gives you in this box. I went for the pastels because they're more typically my kind of colour schemes. And also I find that they're not too dark, so you can still easily write on top of them, which is great for creating banners and headers, etc. So I think these are so great, and I currently only have these, but I'm definitely planning on buying more of them. I got the ones that come in a box just because I think that's just an easier way to keep things tidy and stored, but they also sell them in more typical pencil case packaging. So yeah, I'm absolutely in love with these and I can't wait to expand my collection. So if anyone ever wants to get me a present, this is a great one. And now with the calligraphy pens, there are 2 types of holders that I tend to use, and these are the ones you'll see all over the internet as well. The one I'm showing now is just a straight pen, like what you expect from a fountain pen really. They're just what you're used to with your normal pens, and they are more intuitive and straightforward to use than potentially the oblique pen, which is the one I'm showing now. So as you see, the oblique pen has more of an angle to it, and this makes it easier to control the pressure when you are writing. I prefer the oblique pen, but again, this is just something that you have to try and figure out for yourself. The nib I use the most often is definitely the Nikko G nib, which is the one you see right here. I like it because it's very stiff, it's a good nib to use for beginners, and I just like the control it gives me. Because it's so stiff, it's also durable and it doesn't get ruined that easily. This nib by Hunt is actually the first one I ever tried. This nib is a bit more flexible than the Nikko one, but it's still good for beginners, even though I still recommend the other one before you try using this one. The last one I like to use is a Brause nib, and it's really small, as you can see. It's also a lot more flexible than we've seen with the other ones. I've put the Nikko one next to it for comparison. This is an extra fine nib. That means that if you've had a bit of practice and you feel more comfortable with the other ones, this one can be really good for creating nice flourishes and very detailed letters.
So I really hope any of that was any useful to you. If it was, please let me know. If there's anything else you want to see, again, let me know. Connect with me on social media, connect with me here on YouTube, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.